Right now, you're likely sitting in a room with a floor that doesn't move, air that doesn't burn your lungs, and a 5G signal that connects you to everything. Congratulations, you're playing the game of life on tutorial mode. But some people looked at the settings menu of human existence and dragged the difficulty slider all the way to extreme hardcore. We're talking about villages that look like a rendering error in the Matrix. Places where nipping to the shops involves a vertical climb that would make an Olympic athlete collapse, or dodging a toxic sulfur cloud just to survive the Tuesday morning shift. This isn't just a list, it's an odyssey into the spots where humanity looked at the most hostile landscapes on Earth and said, yeah, this looks like a great place for a living room. These aren't just villages. They are middle fingers to the laws of biology. We're going to show you how a tribe evolved larger spleens just to breathe underwater. How a community lives in the shadow of an active volcano. And why 50,000 people live in a Peruvian mining town where the air has 40% less oxygen than yours. By the time this ends, your cozy apartment is going to feel like a 5-star resort. We're about to explore the most impossible ways to stay alive. Don't get lost in the wilderness. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You're going to want to see where we're going next. Welcome to the edge. This is Next Sight. Imagine a rock. It's barely the size of half a soccer pitch, roughly 1 acre of jagged, unforgiving stone. Now take 500 people and tell them they have to live there forever. This is Mingo Island. It's not a village, it's a biological impossibility. From a distance, it looks like a giant iron turtle floating in the water. Up close, it's the world's most claustrophobic neighborhood. The vibe here? Imagine living inside a giant sardine can that's been left out in the sun. There are no trees. There is zero farmland. There isn't even a single blade of grass. It's just iron, rock, and humanity. But why? Why would anyone choose to live in a place where your front yard is a neighbor's tin wall and your backyard is a 50-foot drop into the lake? 2 words: Nile perch. This tiny rock is sitting on a biological gold mine. The waters surrounding Mingo are teeming with fish that feed a multi-million-dollar export industry. To these residents, the stench of drying fish is the smell of money. But wealth on Mingo comes with a survival tax. Every single drop of fresh water has to be boated in from the mainland. Residents pay up to $5 a day for clean water. To someone living in a skyscraper, that's the price of a fancy latte. But on this rock, that $5 is the literal boundary between life and dehydration. It's the most expensive subscription service on Earth. If Mingo is a gritty, ironclad fortress, our next stop is its Caribbean cousin, Santa Cruz del Islote. It's twice the size of Mingo, but it's holding triple the people. We're talking about 1,200 residents packed onto 2.5 acres. If you did the math, that's a population density 4 times higher than Manhattan. But there are no skyscrapers here. Just one-story houses built so close together that the island doesn't even have streets. It's basically a crowded elevator that nobody wants to leave. But here's the kicker: Santa Cruz has 0 crime. No police, no locks on the doors, no sirens. Think about it. Where exactly are you going to run? If you steal a mango from your neighbor, the entire island knows before you've even finished the first bite. Everyone knows what you had for breakfast because they can literally smell the frying plantains through the wall you share with 4 other families. There is no private life on Santa Cruz. Your joys are public and your sorrows are shared. It's a social experiment that proves humans don't actually need personal space to thrive. They just need to be seen. But even this paradise has a price. Just like Mingo, the island has no natural water, no toilets, no cemetery. When you die on Santa Cruz, your final journey is a boat ride to a neighboring island. Because even in death, there simply isn't enough room to stay. Most of us consider a penthouse the peak of luxury. But for the Korowai tribe of Indonesia, a high-rise isn't about status. It's about survival. Deep in the prehistoric jungles of West Papua, these master architects build homes up to 120 feet in the air. That's roughly the height of a 12-story building, constructed entirely out of wood, bark, and rattan. No steel beams, no cranes, just human grit and a very, very long climb. Now let's talk about the commute. Their stairs aren't exactly up to code. It's a single notched pole leaning against the trunk. If you're coming home after a long day and your foot slips, you aren't worried about a twisted ankle. You're worried about terminal velocity. But why go through the nightmare of carrying every branch, every leaf, and every child up a 100-foot vertical ladder? It's called the threat stack. Down on the jungle floor, you've got swarms of malaria-carrying mosquitoes and the constant risk of flash floods. Historically, there was an even darker reason: rival clans. In the Korowai world, if you aren't invited to the housewarming party, you're a threat. Building in the clouds meant you could see an enemy coming before they even crossed the river. It's the ultimate do not disturb sign. Imagine the trust required to sleep in these homes. You are betting your life on the strength of a few vines and the flexibility of a tree branch. It's a lifestyle that turns every trip to the grocery store or the forest floor into a death-defying stunt. If you think the Korowai have it rough, let's head to the Sichuan province of China, to the village of Atuler. This is a community that lived on a 2,600-foot-high plateau, basically a village in the sky. For generations, there was only one way in and one way out: the sky ladder. Take a second to remember your school run. Maybe you complained because your mom made you walk 2 blocks in the rain, or the bus was 5 minutes late. For the children of Atuler, getting to math class meant becoming a literal Spider-Man. They had to navigate 17 different vine ladders, some stretching hundreds of feet straight up the cliffside. No safety ropes, no helmets, just their tiny hands gripping damp wood, while a 2,000-foot drop waited for a single mistake. In 2016, the world finally took notice, and the government replaced the vines with a steel ladder. It's safer, sure, but it's still 2,556 steps of pure vertical adrenaline. But here's the insight that most people miss. The people of Atuler aren't trapped up there. The soil on top of that cliff is some of the most fertile in the region. They grow top-tier peppers and walnuts, shielded from the chaos of the valley below. For them, the cliff wasn't a wall, it was a filter. It kept out the noise of the modern world and left them with a view that billionaires would pay $100 million for. But to earn that view, You have to be willing to climb for it every single day. Gravity might be a law of physics for us, but in Atuler and the Korowai territory, gravity is just a suggestion that they've learned to ignore. In the Western world, death is a hard line. A doctor calls the time, a curtain is drawn, and within days, the departed are moved to a cemetery. We call it closure. But in the highlands of Indonesia, the people of Toraja think our way of grieving is, well, a bit rushed. Here, rest in peace is more like rest in the living room. To the Torajans, a person isn't truly dead just because their heart stopped beating. They are simply makula, a sick person. And you don't dump a sick relative in a grave, do you? Families keep their deceased loved ones inside the family home for months, years, or even a decade. They are preserved using traditional methods, dressed in their favorite clothes, and included in the daily routine. They are brought meals, they are offered cigarettes, they are spoken to as if they're just having a very, very long nap. Why the wait? Because in Toraja, a funeral isn't a somber afternoon. It's the most expensive party of your life. It can cost $50,000 or more, requiring the sacrifice of dozens of water buffalo to carry the soul to the afterlife. Families work for years just to afford the send-off. But the most mind-bending part? The manin ritual. Every few years, they dig the bodies back up. They clean them, give them new outfits, and walk them through the village. It sounds like a horror movie to us, but look closer. It puts our 30-minute funeral service to shame. It's a beautiful, slow-motion goodbye that refuses to let a cold biological fact break the bonds of family. In Toraja, the dead never truly leave. They just become permanent roommates. We've seen villages built on cliffs and islands made of iron. But our next impossible location isn't a place, it's the human body itself. In the Kayan villages of Myanmar, beauty isn't a feeling, it's a physical burden. For over 1,000 years, the women here have worn brass neck coils that seem to defy human anatomy. It starts at age 5. Over time, more rings are added until the weight reaches 20, 30, or even 40 pounds. Let's put that into perspective. Imagine wearing 10 high-end laptops around your neck, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You sleep in them. You bathe in them. You live your entire life inside a golden cage. Here's the glitch in the visual. Despite the nickname giraffe women, their necks aren't actually stretching. Physics doesn't work that way. Instead, the sheer weight of the brass is literally crushing the collarbone and ribcage downward. It's an optical illusion created by the collapse of the upper torso. Why do it? Some say it was originally to protect against tiger bites. Others say it was to make the women unattractive, to rival slave traders. But today, it's pure identity. It's a commitment to an aesthetic that would make a modern fashion victim weep. It's a living symbol of endurance. These women carry the weight of their ancestors on their shoulders, literally. And while the rest of the world chases fleeting trends, the Kayan have remained unchanged for a millennium, proving that the most impossible landscape to navigate is the one we create for ourselves. Most of us consider a toxic work environment to be an office with a broken AC and a boss who sends emails at 11 p.m. But in East Java, Indonesia, the term is a bit more literal. Welcome to Kawah Ijen. On the surface, it's a stunning turquoise lake, but don't let the color fool you. This is the largest highly acidic lake on Earth. It has a pH of 0. It doesn't just bite, it dissolves. This is arguably the most dangerous job on the planet. While the rest of the world sleeps, hundreds of miners descend 1,000 feet into the throat of an active volcano. Their goal? Sulfur. Or as the locals call it, the devil's gold. The air here isn't just thin, it's poison. It's filled with high concentrations of hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide that can sear human lungs in seconds. And yet, these men carry 150 to 200 pounds of solid sulfur in bamboo baskets, balanced on their bare shoulders, trekking up and down vertical rock faces. There is a benefit to this nightmare, though it's a haunting one. At night, the sulfur gases ignite, creating an otherworldly display of electric blue flames that look like a scene from Avatar. It's beautiful, it's hypnotic, and it's lethal. These miners aren't here for the vibe. They do this to earn about $12 to $15 a day, a wage that is significantly higher than farming in the valley below. It's a trade-off that is hard to wrap your head around, sacrificing your long-term health for a short-term survival win. Kawah Ijen is a place where nature's beauty and human desperation are fused together in a cloud of yellow smoke. If you're tired of the heat of the volcano, let's head to the northern edge of Mongolia, where the mercury regularly hits -40. Here, the Tsaatan people live a life that looks like it was ripped straight out of a Christmas card. If that card was frozen in a block of ice and featured 0 Santa Claus, these are the last of the nomadic reindeer herders. In the modern world, we argue over whether a truck is all-terrain. For the Tsaatan, the only all-terrain vehicle that matters is the reindeer. They don't just herd them, they ride them, milk them, and live in total symbiosis with them. Imagine your life depending entirely on the behavior of an animal. If the reindeer move, you move. Every 4 to 6 weeks, the entire village packs up their homes and migrates through the frozen forest to find new moss for the herd. There are no roads here, no electricity, no grocery stores. If you want to eat, you forage or you trade. The vibe is one of extreme silence and extreme isolation. It's a place where the concept of time doesn't exist in minutes or hours, but in seasonal cycles and animal migrations. Why stay in the taiga when the cities are getting warmer? For the Tsaatan, it's not about staying, it's about belonging. They aren't survivors of the cold, they are masters of it. In a world where we rely on machines for everything, the Tsaatan proved that as long as you have a herd and a horizon, you have everything you need. So why do they stay? Is it stubbornness? Is it lack of choice? Actually, it's identity. These people aren't stuck in these impossible places. They are part of them. To a Bajau nomad, the land is a cage. To an Oymyakon resident, the city is too loud. We spend our lives trying to make the world comfortable, but these communities prove that the human spirit is most alive when it's pushed to the edge. If you enjoyed this trek around the globe, do me a massive favor, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm that you've got a taste for adventure. Comment below. Which of these villages would you last a week in? See you in the next one.